Welcome to the Alma Cafe podcast. I am Peter Ahmad, frequent guest of this establishment. I'm joined by the multi-talented Jono Tait. Jono, welcome. How are you this afternoon?
I'm good, Peter. I'm having a laugh at this. This is good.
This could be interesting. This could be fun. You said this morning you've been filming music videos and showing me your fingers that you're saying are calloused and sore.
Yeah, I've been wearing a couple of different hats today. The first half of the day was spent in black jeans and a black shirt, and now I'm casual, doing Alma work.
It's really genuinely great to be here. We've talked a bit about this towards the back end of the year, last year, 2022. And coming into 2023, the idea was to have a conversation on a regular basis, probably a monthly basis, coming together and talking about the events around this amazing establishment of yours, the Family Tait, the Alma Cafe, which has been a music... Family Tait. You like that?
Yeah, I do. Family time.
This has been a music establishment since when?
That's our coffee machine.
So you do coffee as well as a music venue, correct?
Yes. So we started doing the music in 2009, 2010. No one can quite remember anymore. But it was long enough ago that it sort of means something now, I suppose. And it was quite wild why we did. When I say we, I mean I was at school. My folks bought the building to start up a little neighborhood coffee shop. It started out life as a general dealer, hence the Alma Supply Store.
Corner Café.
Yeah, totally.
Many a suburb of South Africa.
Yeah. The family who'd had it before us decided they had enough. They'd been here for like 40 years. And my folks bought it with the intention of turning it into a daytime coffee shop, bakery kind of thing. And that just did not work. And we kind of got to a point where we were about 6 weeks out from the bank foreclosing on our house.
Really well.
And a friend of my dad's suggested, well, why don't you try doing some music? My dad, of course, having been a professional musician for 25, 30 years. At that point, my mum with a lot of catering experience, and they said, okay, well, let's do live music and food and see what happens. And within 6 weeks, that had taken off, and our entire lives were sort of thrown into disarray, one could say. And we found what we're meant to do in this building, which is live music with food. And have been doing it ever since. Obviously, 2020 was interesting, but I'm sure we'll get there at some point. But yeah, that's the history of live music here. We kind of built it up slowly. We started off just standing in a corner with the speakers being put up and taken down. These days, they're hardwired in. We didn't have a stage to start off with. We didn't have a bar counter. We used to bring tables from our home, and we had a knife, a fork, and a cup, and a bowl, and a plate each at home, and everything else was here. The house was quite empty for a couple of years while this place kind of took off. Then we started getting things together that we could start repopulating our house with furniture and cutlery and stuff. I don't remember much of this because I was very young. It started when I was at school. I'd just finished school the year the music started. Then I went into university, and of course I was just carousing and partying and doing what 20-year-olds
Doesn't sound like the Jono I know.
do. No, I've become an old man now. The thing with Alma, yes, it's been extremely hard work.
Sure.
But everything that's worked here has just flowed very organically. It's just kind of been part of the process. We haven't had to fight or push particularly hard for anything except show up and work bloody hard.
I think that's sometimes what we as the as the audience don't appreciate. The artists are here, set up, ready. The sound is ready to go. The food is being served. The coffee, the whole vibe. It's set up. It's hardwired. It's the experience of Alma that people get. But that hard work that you described, making sure that you've got the stock in, making sure you've got the artists booked, making sure that everything is working. I mean, that must be in itself a busy week and a busy approach for you and the family, right? Family Tait.
Yeah. It's one of those things where in the same way as it's very difficult for me to teach somebody how to play guitar because I just do it. I don't think about what goes into making it happen. I can't break it down like that. I'd have to really sit and think about all the things that I do in a day. There's a lot of work, but again, in a place like this where it's just small enough for the three of us to handle, we can kind of get by. We worked in a very Spanish manner. We come in here in the morning, we do 5 hours, 6 hours work in the morning, then we go home for a siesta for a couple of hours, and then come back in the evening and do another 6 hours. So it's an interesting way around. It also because it's very much service industry, hospitality industry, and entertainment industry weighted, our weeks are weird. We do Wednesdays to Sundays. Trying to have friends is difficult.
I can imagine.
You know, phone up a mate on a Tuesday morning, go, hey, like, it's Sunday morning, let's go to the beach. So like, my dude, I've been in the office for 2 hours, like, you're bugging me, bugger off. That's quite a notable feature of running a business like this, is you're properly out of sync with 98% of the rest of society, at least the employed ones. When you're in a business like this where you're effectively, you know, you're working as an active service towards something bigger than yourself, you make that sacrifice because, hey, like, we don't want to close down another stage. There's enough of that in Cape Town. So I think I've just accepted that we run on a slightly different schedule to everyone else.
What makes Alma special? The atmosphere, the approach to live music, the no backing tracks allowed on stage, that whole philosophy. That's one of the things that really I'd wanted to go a bit deeper into in the coming months when we do these podcasts, talk a bit about what makes this place so special. The idea is we'll come in, we'll talk a bit about who's played in the last month or so and who's booked to come. And maybe if we just take a step back to 2022, it was probably a really important year for Alma. You've talked about 2020 and the whole COVID disaster here in respect of everything from live music and hospitality to just trying to get through the day, forget about running a business. But last year, I guess, Jono, was the first time that you were coming back as a full year, full capacity, and pretty much a full program. I mean, maybe your recollections on some of the highlights of that year, some of the people that you had coming through the doors. We certainly had some cracking nights here last year. But yeah, your recollections, as dizzy or busy as they might have been.
Oh, mate. So I don't want to sound in any way dismissive. There is a bit of a sense at this point, and it's something that I was quite cross with my dad about a few years ago, where he's just like, buddy, it's just another fucking gig. But you do get to a point where you're in a venue where there's 3-4 gigs a weekend, 44 weeks a year, where it just kind of blends in. You ask me which gigs stand out, it's like, I don't know, man.
Because I'm too busy in the back doing
I'm just running around making sure that, like, everything's... Because, I mean, I just think of this place as processes and systems. So it's very difficult for me to think, oh, there was that band that played some great music.
Let me tell you about a couple of shows
Okay.
that to me were extremely
See if I
special.
can remember them.
And I mean, you
Sorry,
were...
I feel terrible saying it. It's like, Jesus, that's the worst possible marketing ever.
I do hope that whoever's watching this, perhaps you played here on this very stage and will not hold it against your host.
Oh, God, yeah.
But John, I mean, one of them was yourself, right? One of them was yourself sat here with your dad on your left as we sat here. And John Ellis, previously from 363, went and did his solo thing and is doing some amazing work. You put together something that was, I think, originally was the Trios, which became the Shambles.
Yeah.
That was a great night in terms of fun. It was clear that you brought in somebody who's very well known in the South African music industry in terms of his international career, particularly in America, with that 363 vibe. And you put something together.
I didn't realize until later on, like, that he'd actually cracked it pretty big.
No, make no mistake.
I mean, to me, it's just like, it's fucking John, you know?
Hello, Mr. Soul, I dropped by to pick up a reason. The thought that I caught in my head is the event of the season. White clouds, just a trace of my face, it seems so pleasing. I'll cop out to the change, but a stranger is putting the tease on. I was down on a frown when the messenger brought me a lantern. Raised by the praise of a fan who said I have sent her. Any girl in the world could have easily known me better. She said, you're strange, don't change and turn to plaster. Now stick around while the clown of his sick does the trick of disaster. For the race of my head and my face is moving much faster. Is it strange I should change? I don't know. Why don't you ask her? Is it strange I should change? I don't know. Why don't you ask her? Is it strange I should change? I don't know. Why don't you ask her?
I've seen you here with Albert Frost. I've seen you with. To me, John Ellis is right up there in terms of the South African artists. You've done some very special things. Now, I'm just saying, that was a great evening. You took something and you built something and you're continuing with that.
Yeah.
Your thoughts
Again,
on
that's so. I know this maybe sounds a little weird or sort of trying to lessen the impact of it, but as a musician, which I consider myself to still just about be first and foremost, I just consider musicians other musicians, if that makes sense. You know,
Sure.
they're just
Sure,
other musicians. They're just
the peers.
They're dudes. They're just other dudes and other dudettes, and it's like, well, Kif, you know, are we going to be friends or are we going to be mortal enemies? I've met enough sort of, I suppose, you know, the big musicians, the famous people now, to realize mostly what they appreciate more than anything else is you just being mates with them.
And within the Alma Cafe environment, it's providing a place to play, Jono. I think that's one of the things
It's that, and they also love it that we shove them in the kitchen and say, that's where you bloody sitting. You haven't got space out
That's
here.
the green
or
room.
Green room is, you come sit in the back and listen to us swear in the kitchen, you know, and they're like, wow, this is like kind of rootsy. We like it, you know.
As one of the audience, I've seen many an artist walk in through that door over there, walk through the kitchen. I thought there was a whole dressing room back there, but
Nothing.
clearly
There's
that's
two
not it.
chairs.
2 chairs. There you go. So once you hit one of those chairs, you've made it, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll tell you the one show that I do remember, and I think you guys were here as well. And this one, I'll be honest, and I'm not too good at the humble thing. I felt quite good about this one when Arno Carstens
It was a great night.
was here.
Amazing night.
And I mean, I felt quite sorry for the guy because he was like, oh, mate. And I don't feel sorry like as an oh shame, but because I completely resonated with him when we were sitting in the back and I'm chatting to Arno Carstens and going like, yeah, man, you know, normally you play with the band and this and that. And he looks at me and he goes, dude, like, I'm going to be funny, but like, I fucking hate playing solo gigs. And I'm like, dude, I feel you. It's miserable. It sucks being alone on a stage. So the two of us really connected on both being singer-songwriters who get up and entertain people by ourselves, but neither of us enjoy it much. There's a reason he's the frontman of a rock and roll band. You know, he likes the band thing. And that turned into, because I had his, you know, I picked up his guitar and I played a bit and he's like, check me out. And he goes like, hey man, like,
Come.
do you want to come play? And I'm like, I mean, I'm not going to say no.
Yeah.
And that's kind of just very, again, organically just rolled into, you know, the next time he came here, I was out on Cape Point with a girl. Literally, like, well, I wasn't supposed to work, and I get a call at 5:30. My dad's like, I'm so sorry to bug you, but, like, Arno's arrived, and he wants to know if he'll play, because he wishes you would come and play, and he's a bit miffed that you're not here. So, like, are you going to play? And I'm like, I'm fucking in Cape Point.
Romantic.
Like, having a good time.
Like a Joel.
But when Arno Carstens phones you, you fucking make the gig. You know, so I was like, okay, cool.
Mr. New Girl needs you.
I
needs your
mean,
hand.
yeah, and
Oh.
then we just had a great and again, this is something that I feel is very important to stress. I play that gig because playing with Arno is a lot of fun.
For sure.
He writes great songs. He's an amazing performer, a wonderful singer. But mostly, I get off with having fun with the dude on stage. Like the two of us will be doing something. He sings a good one, and I look across and I go, damn, that was cool. And, you know, I play something cool, and he looks across and goes, shit, that was nice. That's what's important to me, is the fact that musically we connect. And that's because the basis of it is that we connected in the kitchen at the back going, it's really shit playing alone, isn't it? It's that personal connection. I guess if anything makes Alma special, it's that. It's the fact that with to now come back to what you were saying earlier, it's that everything here is laced with the personal.
And a love and a passion for what you do, right?
I mean, we're not doing it for the bucks. I promise you that.
I mean,
certainly not the yacht money. We're doing it. We get by, but it's
No, sure.
none of us are on yachts yet.
not yet, but I mean, time.
This
It's all about
podcast.
time. This podcast is there.
10 million on YouTube in 2 years. Come on.
10 million would be good.
10 million would be alright.
10 would be good to start with.
You're going for 10 million. Aim high, and then if you fall short, you're still good.
You mentioned Arno. I mean, Arno took the roof off this place. I think it was the first time he played here, right? Last year. And I mean, he took the roof off here.
And then played another 4 times.
That first night, he just wouldn't stop. He kept playing.
That
playing.
happened every other time.
Absolutely incredible night. I mean, you also had last year, you had Art Matthews, I think
Yep.
for the first time. You had
Yeah,
Ross Learmouth
Yep.
from Prime Circle. James Stewart, been quite a regular, but he had been
James
away
has
for a
been
while.
playing here for a long
Long
time,
time.
but there was quite a break, and then he hooked up with John Ennis as well.
I must tell you this, and first time I was aware of the Alma Cafe was in Johannesburg. I was living in Johannesburg.
How'd you manage that, Pete?
Huge Usual fan. I love
right.
the Usual.
Yeah.
And so I heard that James Stewart was playing in Rosebank at a place called the Alma Cafe. So I was like, where's this place in Rosebank, Johannesburg?
Did you
where
call
can-
us?
I think I did probably send an email saying, please can I have, and I probably got the thing back, you're going to have to travel.
Fucking Rosebank, mate. We've had that call.
Either come by Kalula or not.
You'd be surprised how many times we've had that call. And like literally people phone like, hi, I want 2 tickets. I'm like, okay, cool. And then they go, just by the way, where are you? Well, Alma Road. It's like, oh, we're in Rosebank South. Like,
yeah.
hang on, where are you phoning from?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm in Melville. It's like,
Well, I tell you what, at least there's the national, and you guys even had international artists here last year. I think it was the Portraits.
yes,
Were here,
we've had
which
Portraits.
was very special, a very interesting story behind their whole thing that came out that night.
Yeah, I mean, they've been visiting us, 7 or 8 years now? We have a very cool songwriter who's been here twice now, I think, from England, Reg Miros, proper English folk. He's so cool. Like, this is a chap who sells out Royal Albert Hall,
Wow.
and he somehow found us and came and played, and it was just like jaws dropping, you know.
I've been to both,
Yeah.
and I know which one I would prefer.
Gee, I wouldn't mind playing Royal Albert Hall.
There's time.
Gee, I need to practice more, mate. But yeah, I mean, so Reg is funny because his best mate is Pete Townsend.
Wow.
Yeah,
The Pete Townsend.
that one, yeah.
Who's he? See what I did there?
Oh, no. That's horrid.
Yeah, I wasn't very
No,
good.
that was good.
That's going to lose us, people.
I'm
man.
trying to come up with like a really good song pun, but it's not happening. So we said to Reg, like, do us a favor and just like mention it to Pete that if he ever wants an acoustic gig, we'll sell 40 tickets for him in Rosebank, Cape Town. I like crossing fingers. You never know what might happen, you know. I mean,
Stranger things have happened.
I'll fucking fall if Pete Townsend walks in here. It's like, oh, my mate Reg said I should come here. And go on.
If Rod Stewart visited the Celtic Club in Johannesburg around the corner from me, why wouldn't Pete Townsend come and visit you in the Alma?
Do you know who we have had here is Annie Lennox.
Really? That I didn't know.
Well, she lives
Tell
here,
me
right?
more.
Not to sing, but she's resident. She lives in Cape Town
Didn't know.
4 or 5 months a year. Her and her hubby have a place in Bantry Bay, and I think she's been twice actually, or just once. I can't remember. I just remember it because this goes back right to the beginning. I was playing a gig that night in a club called, I can't remember, in Plumstead.
Very
For
popular.
3
I can't
people.
remember. Very,
Yeah.
very popular with people.
So I was still drinking that. For 3 people. And I came back here afterwards and everyone, like the whole place was just buzzing. And I'm like, what's gone on? My dad's like, you're not going to believe who was here. I'm like, oh, who? And Annie Lennox.
Wow.
Fuck. I missed that, you know, because I'm playing my like shitty little pub gig.
3 people remember it very fondly, don't
I doubt it. They were not listening.
Jono, the whole purpose of this podcast is to, as I say, look back at what's been, and we've talked now a bit about 2022, but it's also look forward and supplement. Let's have this right. You're on Instagram, you're on Facebook.
Yes.
Where it's as easy as that. Is Alma Cafe, Rosebank, people type in? Or
The.alma.cafe.
Right.
And then the best way to find things out is to, I think you're on the mailing list, right?
Yeah.
Is to sign up to the mailing list. And I've managed to pin a sign up form to the top of our Facebook page. So we'll see how long that lasts. because between Facebook, well, Meta basically, and MailChimp, they seem to change their protocols all the time.
Welcome to 2023.
Oh, man, and like I used to be a musician, right? Like I'm not too up on marketing and digital things. It's hard and annoying and not my favorite thing in the world. But anyway, somebody's got to do it. So
Who's coming in Feb? Who have you got for the balance of January? The idea is to get this first episode out before the end of January. But talk about who's coming and who's coming in February.
So what have we got this weekend? The one that springs to mind is the Nobutle Ashanti quartet. No, well, she goes by the Ashanti tribe. Nobutle Ashanti, Sean Sandby, Jody Fredericks, and young, like the top echelon of the young jazzies in Cape Town.
Fantastic.
That's on Sunday. Friday night, yes, we've got the Tom Petty tribute. Oh, and Tom Petty tribute featuring Basson Loebscher, myself, Richard of the place, Nick Cato, and a youngster called James Smith, who is a phenomenal rock keyboard player.
You're going to fit all of those guys on this stage, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Look, we'll take some footage and we'll show what it's about.
Listen, we had a 12-piece chamber orchestra in here.
Really?
Yeah, and then last year, in fact, we had a 15-piece jazz orchestra in here. God, the audience was a bit smaller. We could fit the musicians in, but it's
How did you
doable.
fit them on the two chairs in the green room, man?
When the bands are a bit big and the venue's a bit small, we just say to the musos, like, hey guys, Fat Cactus is like half a click down the road, go have a drink, come back at like 7:15 and we'll get the gig going. The other leg one is Lonesome Dave Ferguson. Beatboxing, looping, harmonica virtuoso. Brilliant. Dave Ferguson on Saturday night. So that's the weekend. Petty, Ferguson, and Ashanti tribe.
So by the time this comes out, you'll have had all those through your door. Who else is coming?
Okay, so the next weekend, which is the first weekend of Feb, we've got the Betsy Beers. Well, they're now the Betsy's, I believe. Fantastic, like bluegrass country, traditional country bluegrass, folk, Americana. Two sisters. They sing beautiful harmonies. It's banjo, it's acoustic guitars, it's dum 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 bass, Telecaster, fiddle, slide guitar, drums. Beautiful, beautiful band. Really cool. So they're coming in on the 3rd. The 4th, we've got Edie Nederlander, a legendary South African songwriter. Tickets are actually almost sold out for that one already.
Fantastic.
And then on the 5th, we just booked today, we've got Hatchet Man coming back on the 5th. So
Hatchet Man's your band, right?
Yes.
And your colleagues on there?
Nick and Matt Cato, the brothers Cato, part of the Blundell clan.
Any chance we'll see the famous Beatles rendition of the Hatchet Man?
The Beatles are going to struggle to cover Hatchet Man these days. There's only 2 of them left.
There you go. I see what you did there. That's not quite what I meant, but anyway, the Hatchet Men do a mean Beatles cover versions.
We actually, I sent them a challenge the other day. I want us to get the Cause together.
The Cause together?
Because. The song. Yeah. It's just wild harmonies. So we're going to probably not for Sunday, but anyway. Then a couple of other good ones. You mentioned Wendy Oldfield, who you'd seen here with Robin Old.
Amazing. One of the great, something brand new to me.
Yeah.
I didn't know Sweatband. I didn't know Robin's 80s stuff. It was awesome.
Great night. I mean, that's cool for me that you brought that up because, again, for me, I mean, I've kind of grown up with Wendy and Robin now. Like, cool. They're just, I mean, I understand they're phenomenal musicians. They were huge in the 80s. But when you bring it up going, I've never seen them or heard of them, and I walked in and watched the 2 of them, I go like, that blew your fucking mind. Like, I know how good they are, I'm just used to it, but knowing what that must seem like and look like to somebody who's got no idea, it must be nuts, because they're 30, 40-year, like, rock star, brilliant musician veterans.
if somebody can confirm this, whether it's Wendy or anybody who knows, my understanding was Sweatband back in the day supported Black Sabbath at Sun City. I'd love that to be confirmed. That was my understanding.
Cool.
Maybe I've got it wrong, but I'd be really. You didn't know Black Sabbath was here?
No.
Wow.
I thought it was just
you
Queen.
need to go and check your set lists on setlist.co.com. They were here.
That's how you spend
they were
your
here
Sundays,
after.
huh?
They were here after. Yeah, Sunday I got nothing on.
I have a nap.
Go and check the Queen set list and go and check Black Sabbath.
Okay, all right.
I can't remember. It wasn't Ozzy Osbourne or James DL. It was somebody else who was singing, but it was Black Sabbath. The real
wow.
name. Yeah.
Okay, gee, that's crazy.
Mr. Iommi, I think, was here.
Oh, wow. Well, he's all right.
No, he could play.
He's a
Could play.
jokes. Incredible. So, Wendy Oldfield is back, but this time with another wonderful South African legend, Lionel Bastos, guitar player. So, Wendy and Lionel do a phenomenal gig together as well. Wendy on her djembe
on the drum,
and Lionel on guitar. And this one I'm excited about because I just landed it like 2 days ago. A band called the Stone Jets. Two guys, Manny and Given. I've just known them forever on the scene. They're basically peers of mine. We kind of all came up together and grew up together playing the same shitty dive bars 10 years ago. And they kept it together and then got the opportunity in 2019 to move across to London and go and do the band in London, where they're making a great success.
Fantastic.
And then they got stuck there because COVID. So
Because COVID. We'll get to that in an episode down the line.
Different one. And they haven't been able to come back since. So this is the first time they're back in the country, and they booked one gig. And then I caught wind of it, and I went, I want one. So I managed to get hold of them, and it's like, dude, please come and play Alma.
Stone Jets.
Yeah, so I've got the duo. They're just playing an acoustic duo. It's going to be like down to like back to their roots, and playing here on the 11th of Feb. And I have not even published the fact that they're playing here yet, and nor have they, and I already have bookings. I don't know how that happens.
I think you might have two more just now, mate.
But yeah, so Given, if you haven't heard Given sing, well...
So Stone Jets, that's
Stone
one
Jets.
for Spotify and the YouTube playlist or beyond the Alma Cafe podcast,
Yeah, I think they've got some records up, yeah. I'm terribly excited. Oh, and then the last one, which is also going to book out a hell of a quickly, Neil Sandilands. So Neil Sandilands is a South African actor who's cracked it in Hollywood, has decided to turn his hand to being a musician because he was in a TV... This is a great story. He got cast in a show where he was a singer-songwriter. So he methoded the fuck out of it and became a singer-songwriter, linked up with Theo Kraus, recorded his album, got a SAMA nomination for it, decided he would like to play his music, hired Skalk Bear and Albert Frost to play his music. Skalk said, I think the best venue for you to try this out the first time would be the Alma Cafe. We got completely inundated with requests because the guy's like quite well known outside of just music. He's a very well known in the Afrikaans scene, just celebrity. Really.
This is the Jared Leto of...
I mean, no. Neil's
South
cool.
Africa.
No, Neil's cool. Neil's cool. He's not a religious weirdo. And he had a great beard. And yeah, so he rocked up here, and now he's finishing off his second album with Theo. He's going on tour in February with Skalk and Albert. They've got like 10 dates across the country. They've got a sound guy touring with them now, and I just phoned him up. I'm like, hey, Neil, like, how's about Alma? He's like, cool, we'll close off our tour there. To come and just finish the whole story, like where we started the whole idea. We're now an album or two albums down the line, same guys, and we'll come back and we'll actually be able to play the gig. And I'm okay, cool. So that's the 20-something of Feb. It's towards the back end of Feb, but that's very exciting as well.
Well, it sounds like you got a full program, and again, it will adapt. It will change.
I was going to say I've managed to like fill a month with 6 names.
You've done well there, and I think what I can say is the best way to do this is to get on the mailing list, to get on the Facebook and the Instagram, where typically you're seeing the posts also from the bands themselves. But Jono, I think let's call it there. This has been a great way to open up the pilot episode.
Is it this easy?
It's this easy, but what we do, we come together on your day off, we spend your time talking about what you've got coming.
Honestly, I was going to lie on my bed and fucking doom scroll Instagram. This is great. We'll go to the beach.
All the best for the year.
Friend, thank you.
Thanks for your time. All the best to your family.
We'll see you.
Look forward to catching up with you next month.
Fantastic.
Cheers, bud. In fact, we'll see you Friday. Tom Petty. Cheers.